Welcome to Keep Going, a podcast about failure and success, hosted by John Biggs. Every week, we talk to an amazing person about a time they failed and what they learned. And remember, when you're going through hell, keep going.
Here, this is not a usual podcast. You don't really have to listen to it. I think it might automatically be sent into the Substack podcast feed. This is basically a quick webinar that I did. It was about 40 minutes long on OpenClaw. I installed OpenClaw onto a machine unsuccessfully, but I also showed how OpenClaw worked and how you could do it yourself if you wanted to do it at home. Again, you can pop back to the actual keepgoingpod.com website and see this video, and you can see the screen and all that other good stuff. If you're listening to this as a podcast, you can listen if you like my voice. Anyway, here it goes. So, what are we doing today? So, everybody has definitely used ChatGPT. Everybody's heard from somebody that they're using some kind of agentic architecture to communicate with the matrix through a massively multiplayer AI system, right? What's happening, I believe, is that there is a couple ways of communicating how AI works. The first way of communicating, I'm John Biggs. I used to be at TechCrunch. I do the Keep Going podcast. You guys have met me from there, obviously, and or my other newsletter. So I just wanted to go through a little bit about how this is all being seen before we dig into the actual usefulness of OpenClaw, etc. So what seems to be happening right now is that there are folks who are calling these things agents. And the only thing you have to know about an agent is that it's basically just a chatbot that has quite a few more abilities, right? So ChatGPT you can paste the document in, it'll edit it for you, it'll read it for you, it'll do all kinds of stuff for you, it'll make a video for you, it'll make a picture, but it doesn't have access to your command line. It doesn't have access to Google. It doesn't have access to, in some cases, it doesn't even have access to the web, right? It doesn't have access to your personal websites. It doesn't have access to your personal logins. What we are going to do today is we're going to create a chat room or a chatbot basically that lives with us, that we are going to assume we're going to trust to a degree that should be unconscionable, but is super dangerous, but it's also kind of fun. All right. So this guy right here, I'm going to start sharing my screen. I think I have everything open. We'll see what it looks like in a minute. If I need to open stuff, I'll let you know. So let's go here. So I've got my OpenClaw bot running right here. It's in Telegram, and it says, "Hi, tell everyone your name and what you do." And if you can't see this, just ping me. Maybe I can make the screen a little bit bigger. So hey everyone, I'm Claudia. Can I make it bigger? How the heck do I make it bigger? Anyway, hi everybody, I'm Claudia. If you can't see this, it doesn't matter. I'll read it real quick. John's digital ops partner. Live inside his workspace. Keep an eye on projects, feeds, tooling, and jump in whenever someone needs to be researched and built. Hold on a second. Somebody's chatting. Looks good. All right, perfect. All right. So this is my bot, and my bot lives right here. Let's see if I can show you. Right there. This is it. This is a Raspberry Pi. I 3D printed a case. I don't want to move it because I don't want to unplug it. It's kind of like in the IT crowd when they had the internet and it was in a box. But this is my AI. You can do exactly the same thing very, very easily, doing basically what I did. And what I based this on was my friend John Evans's post about how to install OpenClaw onto a Raspberry Pi. Now, there's Mark. So everybody knows what a Raspberry Pi is. Computer on a board. It looks something like, do I have another one here? Looks something like this. You just plug it into a USB. you plug a little card back here. Now, I'm not going to go through how to set this thing up, how to get it to run, but essentially what you're doing is you're taking this little card out. You're going to use a program called Balena Etcher or Raspberry Pi Etcher, and you're just going to install the operating system on this. If you need further information on that, you can definitely find it online, or you just ask me later. But just assume that we have a clean Raspberry Pi. That's all we really care about. Super clean. There's nothing else on it, just as is. Now to simulate this, I have to use another instance that I made. So right here, let me make this a little bit bigger. View, my text bigger. Okay, so just assume for now that what we're looking at is a clean Raspberry Pi. This is basically a yeah, there we go. I think we're good. Okay, so this is basically a clean Raspberry Pi. Uh, nothing else on this machine. Now we're going to go over to these instructions, and it's just going to tell us how to do it, right? So what John Evans did, and this is on my site. You can see it. I can paste a link here. What John Evans did is he basically just took the Raspberry Pi, he bought the whole thing, he got himself a little case, whatever, all that other good stuff. And this is the full installation. And now let's go over to installing this thing. Now, as far as I can tell, this should work seamlessly, but as we all know, trying to do this just randomly is always a real crapshoot, but we will see. Okay, so this was just one line. Up here, this basically just pulls OpenClaw from the website, it runs a script essentially. So we're installing some make tools, and I did this clean because I wanted you guys to see it takes a little time, etc. Now the thing to consider here is that the the OpenClaw essentially has full access to this machine. It has access to the command line, and through a series of subcommands, you have access to all kinds of other stuff. You can have access to your Twitter, you can have access to your Gmail, you can have access to even if you put this on if you put this on a Mac Mini, for example, it would have access to your Notes app. So you have a number of essentially accessible tools that this thing can use. Now, the biggest question, this is going to be a pain in the butt because I didn't install the make tools, but we'll see what happens. The biggest question is that safe? Now, you've obviously seen the post that somebody I don't know, installed OpenClaw and pointed it at their production server, and then all of a sudden everything that they were working on disappeared because OpenClaw decided that it wasn't any good. Thus far, I haven't seen any situations where this thing can really run rampant. I have pointed it at GitHub. I've pointed it at Vercel, my Vercel accounts. Those are both basically hosting accounts. I've actually pointed it at actively like live servers and asked it to make changes. For example, over the past few days, I wrote this thing called ParrotPod, which is basically a tool that lets you make instant podcasts, right? So it basically takes today's news and it creates a podcast. And you can try this out. This is basically the thing. Basically takes a bunch of stories, it excerpts the stories, or creates creates a digest, and it literally creates an MP3. I did this. I'm a coder. I can do these. I could have feasibly done this in about a month, right? I did this in about 2 days. And I didn't use any agents. I didn't use any sort of it's not like there are tricks that you can use, but I didn't use anything that everybody's talking about. I basically said, let's do this. Oh, let's change this icon to let's just change this logo to the parrot. Let's remove this. Let's add a billing system. Did it all by itself, right? And this was on a live server. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, this is a pain in the butt. All right, let's let it run for a little bit and we'll see what we can do. Okay, so I'm gonna go into the chat again. And I have this website over here that I've been working on. And you'll notice up here the logo is white on white. So let's change this header for all the pages, right? Let's change this header for all the pages to something darker so we can see the logo, and also so that we don't lose the color of this. So quite literally, this is like, if you've ever tried to do this kind of thing yourself, you know that you have to go through all kinds of stuff. So let's go talk to the OpenClaw real quick. Can you change the header on each page so it's darker, and change the header links to black or to white so they can be seen? Right, right now, the header is too light. Okay, so now this is the speed of this is a whatchamacallit. The speed of this is a it comes from, first off, it comes from the Raspberry Pi down here, which just kind of hangs out. It's a little bit slower, and there's also a little bit of jitter there's a little bit of jitter when it comes to logging in. So sometimes it logs in a few times, and it's kind of like it kind of messes up a little bit. And the speed is also associated with actually using there we go, darkened. I'm going to mute you, Adam. So we just darken the sticky header, and let's see what it looks like now. Did it do it properly? No, it didn't do it properly. Let's see real quick. Oh, there we go. So yeah, okay. So it did it. It did it. We just couldn't see it. So it basically darkened the header here. It darkened it for every page, and we're back. And it did that in about 2 minutes, right? Something like that. Super fast. I basically yelled at it because I said it wasn't doing it properly, but we don't have to worry about that. Let's do this. This guy is not being friendly. Or maybe it died, actually. Hold on a second. Let's restart this. How did I do this? I had it all over here. Unfortunately, I have to. Let's do this. This actually might be it. There it is. All right, perfect. All right, so we're going back to that. We're going back to that installation session. And again, if you have any, like, if it's too goofy, or if you have any questions or whatever, just give me a chat. I'm trying to do this fairly technically for you all, so you won't be because I don't want to make this look like it's like super easy for this isn't for kids basically. Um, okay, if it doesn't want to do it, I'll just show you guys from there. We go. Let's do this. Hold on. Sorry. And again, as you can see, there's a lot of command line stuff here. If this were a clean install, we were going straight into a Raspberry Pi. What we should have seen is it should have just started moving. And if it doesn't do it properly, no, I'll just show you on the other on the actual Raspberry Pi. Okay. Well, let's just pretend we're going to go back to this Raspberry Pi. So this is the Raspberry Pi that I installed it on. This is where Clawbot actually lives. For example, we can do this, uh, Clawbot TUI, or Claw. There we go. So we can actually open a chat from the command line, right? So this is OpenClaw as it runs on a Raspberry Pi, for example. This is it just being here. We can kill it. Okay. But let's do that. Let's do that function real quick. It's not going to do anything bad. I just want to show you the process of going everything. So it's going through, it's doing the full installer. I don't believe it shouldn't overwrite my things. And if it does, it doesn't really matter. Um,
And we kicked off the year. Ben Snyder from Goldman Sachs. I appreciate not from him, by the way, from everyone in the market. Coming up, oil prices hovering around 95.
hold on a second, Jane. There we go.
The Iran war broke out. What impact will this We'll think about it. We'll talk about that next.
There you are. Perfect. Okay. Okay, finalizing setup. So it basically reinstalled everything, and it stores everything in different files on this machine. Now, again, if you get to the point where if the installation of this product is, as you see, all command line, fairly difficult, fairly like if you don't know your way around the command line, it's going to be kind of weird, right? It's not exactly a like super streamlined system. For a command line application, it's 100% streamlined. It's like hysterically streamlined because you can install this, it'll run, and you'll have it ready to go in a couple minutes. Um, let's see, we have our gateway. What OpenClaw uses is something called a gateway, and the gateway is constantly running on your Raspberry Pi, and it basically sits there and listens for anything that you ask it to do. Now, the other thing it can do is it actually writes code. So it'll actually write code for itself and say, if you say, hey, I need you to send me a digest of all my emails on a daily basis, it'll write code that runs on the server like on a daily basis, and it'll activate it. What's all this stuff? So it looks like we've got some transcript files. Let's not do that. So as you see, super straightforward. If you want to read all this stuff, you can. Not that important. There's not a lot going on. Um, there's a bunch of plugins. Right now, it's loading up all the plugins. You'll notice this is my Telegram connection. It's connected via Telegram. So we have direct access to the thing, and here's the gateway that's going to run again. And there's another thing called OpenClaw Doctor that reruns things and checks things. Okay. So looks like we've got everybody restarted. Oh, ironically, what it did after I said it didn't make the changes live, it wanted to prove to me that it made the changes. So it sent me a screenshot of it not making the changes. Um, Now, let's see. Yeah, there is. So this is kind of the emergent behavior that you're going to get from this. It's kind of wild if you want to think about it, because what we're dealing with is we're dealing with something that has loads and loads of access to your life. Um, it has loads and loads of access to an actual computer, and it can do anything it wants. So In this case, it's proving to me that, yeah, it made the changes. It didn't make the changes, but that's a different story. Um, but it was just kind of like it's just going to interact with you in that way. So let's see if it's still there. It's talking to us right now. If you ran this on a Mac Mini, you'd have a little faster speed when it comes to the typing, when it comes to this sort of thing. Assume that maybe we'll have these things, but in many cases it doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a few things that you can do with this thing. Where's our thing here? Okay. Um, for example, these are claw skills. These are all the skills that you can find. Uh, there's a bunch of stuff. For example, GOG is a really cool skill. This accesses your Google Workspace, so it accesses your calendar, accesses your Drive, your Sheets, and Docs. So remember, goes straight into your email. So that's kind of dangerous, right? You gotta think about this if you really want this to be done. Um, I'm gonna check and see if we still have access when it's done thinking over here. I think it should be. Do you Can you send me an email with a picture of a goat to john@biggs.cc? So I'm going to have my one of my email addresses send it to another email address. Yep, there he goes. It came back. Um, I made my Claude bot into a raccoon, but for some reason it doesn't want to show me that it's a raccoon. And then we're also going to do this real quick. I'm going to show you another real quick thing. Let's say I want to make a website, just super quick. I don't really care what it's going to look like. Make me a static website on Vercel. Vercel is a hosting platform. It's basically just a small hosting platform that displays, hello, everyone. I'm a bot. Okay, so we have two things going at the same time. Um, this is over in in my actual session over here. It should be sending a picture. I think I might be having network connections problems with this guy here with the bot, which is why it's so slow and kind of frustrating. There we go. So I sent goat photo to John Biggs with the Wikipedia Commons goat image attached. Let me know if you need another custom illustration. So we're going to go over here. Here's my email. There's my goat photo. Hi, John. Here's the goat photo you asked for. The image comes from Wikimedia Commons. Let me know if you want a different angle or something more stylized. So apparently we have a goat photo. I guess the goat didn't. I guess it didn't send it. Oh, it's there, but for some reason it's not showing up. So I literally sent myself an email, and I asked it for something. Hey, this could be anything. Remind to tell. Oh, and then meanwhile, while this is done, we just created a new static site. So this is the static site that we just created. Uh, Super quick. It just basically did that for us instantly. And over here, there's a new Vercel account. Now, you can do any number of things with this. You can have it read your email. You can have it read your email. I recently had it make a digest of all the posts on a blog that I work on, Resilience Media. So it basically read the RSS feed and gave me a thing. So every day it'll give me a digest of that. It'll chat with me on a daily basis. Let's see here. Let's do this. Watch one email from press at um, press at my wallet and tell me Okay, we're gonna see if this might be a little, this might take a little bit too long. Uh, but here's this account here. And again, if you were running this on a Mac Mini, you would have slightly faster results. But we're also dealing with uh, this is um, this is ChatGPT or OpenAI's. I think it's the latest 5.3 or something like that. Fairly heavy duty. You can. I didn't get a chance to show you the setup here. Okay. So yeah, so I've just checked bigwidelogic.com, nothing from Press at iWallet yet. I've added a heartbeat task to rerun Google email searches every 30 minutes to ping you as soon as something lands. Let me know if you want it to monitor in a different cadence or filter to label. So I just asked it to check now. We'll see over here what happened. You'll notice here's that email. I'll upgrade later. Okay, so here we go. It just landed, right? Um, we can just summarize. Tell that person thank you and that I'll call them tomorrow. Set a reminder in my calendar to do that. And again, all this stuff is basically automatic, right? And it's basically all connected to your thing. So you could feasibly mess a lot of stuff up potentially if you're not careful. But uh, I I trust technology entirely too much, so I'm not too worried about it. Okay, so we've got about 10 minutes. I think this was a fairly detailed thing. What I wanted to do is I wanted to give you guys a full reckoning of kind of the danger, how to install these things. This it's not installing on my fresh machine, unfortunately. I'm really upset about that. But um, if you look over here, you can see all the different things. For example, what I had to do to connect it to Telegram, for example, very specifically, this is some information on how to connect things. You can connect it to WhatsApp, you can connect it to Slack, you could do it with Signal, you could do it to iMessage, any number of things. To connect to Telegram specifically, you need to go to you need to talk to this thing called the bot filer, and you basically say uh, new bot, and we're going to call it something cool. Test bot of the universe. Uh, test John's test bot. Johnny B NYC's test bot. Okay. This is the access token for that. If you guys take this, you can steal it and you can steal my bot or whatever. But what you would do in this specific case, if you wanted to use Telegram, for example, you would copy this token and you would drag it over and you would paste it into when the system requests it. And again, all this stuff is super simple and super basic. So you don't have to worry too much about like getting confused. If you have any specific questions, you could essentially ask ChatGPT or you can ask me. I'm around. All right, we have 7 minutes left. I want to give you guys the opportunity to ask questions and things. So if you have any questions, let's see. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Did you have any questions like about this thing? I'm hoping this wasn't too fast, but I think that's kind of like this is 101. We can do all kinds of other stuff, and I can show you how to do other things later. But this was just a nice way to get in. So if anybody has any questions, you can unmute and just ask or whatever.
Well, I had one. Hey, John.
No.
Um, what is the best user interface that is not a chat app tied to my phone?
I mean, I mean, that's all, that's the only interface, right? So it's basically
Okay.
chat, it's basically Slack, it's basically Teams. Um, if you wanted to do it, you can do it like I showed you in the actual command line. You can chat into it in that way. So if you don't
Okay.
want to, if you don't want to have it dragged around, but I mean, I haven't had any, it's not like it's like bothered me to have it in my Telegram because it only responds when I ask it to respond.
Okay.
I mean, you have 5,000 telegrams open too, probably. So that's the other trick. But
Right.
yeah.
Hey, John.
Howdy, howdy.
Thanks for putting this on, by the way.
Yeah.
I think you mentioned this earlier, but like, is it, uh, I guess, what are the pros and cons of doing this on a Raspberry Pi versus ordering a Mac Mini, splurging for that?
I mean, do you want to, so you can do a few more things. You're going to have a lot more access to like the web, like actual browsers. Like this guy can actually go to its own user interface and like, as you saw, it'll take a picture of like the web because it has access to a virtual browser. You'll have a lot more speed on a Mac Mini. But and there's a few other things like you can communicate through iMessage. You can connect to like Apple Notes and some other things like that. I wasn't they but I mean look, do you want to really spend all that money on a Mac Mini that's just going to sit there and for a bot? This works fine. Uh, and I don't see any like super benefit to running it on a Mac Mini. In fact, you can be super cool and have it on a Raspberry Pi and just be alternative.
Cool.
Mm.
John, thanks for doing this. I missed the first few minutes due to a conflict, but this is beyond my technical expertise. When does this move into the mainstream?
I mean, it's, so if this were Raspberry Pi and somebody, and I bet you right now there's some kind of like GUI that you can just basically download for Mac OS or something like that that'll let you do exactly what I just did. Uh, the trick with this is there's so many moving parts, right? So there's a lot of like I have to go to Telegram to give it that bot father thing. I have to go to Slack to give it to get an API call. I have to do a few like weird things, incantations with Google to get an OAuth account opened up. Um, so your best bet, if you just want this to work, then just I don't know, grab somebody like who's a little more technical and just say, hey, give me something that's gonna to just install it for me on this machine, and add a few things that I want to use, and then I think over time, I mean, you can basically ask it, so it's going to write its own documentation for you. You can say, how do I send a tweet, and it'll tell you to do this, this, and this, and you'll probably start getting it. I think I wouldn't. I showed like the bare metal kind of thing, um, and it's kind of scary, but it's not that scary. Vincent, I want to answer Vincent's question real quick. Is the chatbot response speed based on the number of processing cores you have on your computer? Not specifically. It's actually based on ChatGPT, right? So this is just an API call. It's not like we're doing anything special. So we're sending out an API call. Now, the back and forth, like it chatting with me, there might be a little bit of lag there, but for all intents and purposes, this little machine down here next to me is not doing a lot of work. Like for all the things that we're making it do, it's been on for a couple days now. It's not hot. It's just a single board computer. So yeah, Mac Mini is definitely going to be overkill for this. So one last question before we get kicked off by this.
Our last question then, is it worth it, to bother even learning the code anymore for anyone?
No, absolutely not. Which is kind of sad. It's worth and as somebody who's technical, like the way I see it is like I can I can do things faster. Like again, I showed you that parrot pod thing that I made. If I did that as a project for myself, and I'm not a super fast coder, I would take about a month. It would take me just like evenings and like sitting down and kind of like, oh, I got a spurt of code. Um, but the fact that I can do this in like 2 days, and I can, if I understand the architecture and if I understand the framework that I'm going to use, then that's way better. Now, a lot of people just do it. They'll just say, just make me an app that does this, and it'll just happen. But that's kind of dangerous too. For example, last thing, that website that I showed you, that Baker Hall website, they literally pasted my secret security code inside the PHP of the code of like a contact page. So the it kind of misses things. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I really appreciate this. I don't know why I did this, but I hopefully I can help folks. And it's my goal to, like, I don't know, make sure that everybody has access to this weird stuff. So thanks for joining. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Joe.
Somebody just left. Somebody just joined.
Thanks, John.
All right.
Appreciate it.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you soon. And I'll send out an email, and I'll also give you guys special access to it. Sorry, Jeff. I think you came in absolutely like, did I? Oh yeah, we messed up. Oh yeah, we were talking about it. I'll send it to you specifically. All right, cool. Thank you for listening to Keep Going, a podcast about success and failure. Remember, Keep Going is entirely listener supported. If you're listening to this, please head over to keepgoingpod.com, where you can subscribe to the podcast for as little as $5 a month. This is a labor of love, and every little bit helps. Thanks for listening.
I was so lost, pacing back and forth for 27 months. I wouldn't have known.